Please give Sam a big welcome to the virtual stage. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. Hope you're well, staying safe, and remaining as happy as you can during these unprecedented and uncertain times. I want to start off by iterating that Snap and Snapchat and our team is committed to our community and all of you, our partners, during this difficult time. As such, we want to help all of our business navigate what is a global challenge and truly a new, unique set of circumstances. The objective of this presentation today is one of threefolds. First, to give you an overview on our unique approach to serving our community during this period. Second, to give you a better understanding of how Snapchatter's behaviours are changing. And then most importantly, how our team and our platform can help you and your business during COVID-19. Before I get started, I wanted to first give a quick intro into what Snapchat is all about for those of you who are less familiar with the app. Snapchat, at its heart, is a camera for real friends to communicate. From the very beginning of our company's history, we knew that people struggled expressing themselves through text. That struggle disappeared when people started to use the camera for communication. We also knew people didn't want to record and archive every conversation that they were having on digital media. This isn't normal, and if you think about a true conversation, it isn't natural. People simply wanted a faster way to express themselves. Snapchat is exactly that, the fastest way to express yourself and communicate. Why send a text when you can send a snap? A snap is worth 1,000 words. Being a camera communication platform is why 60% of our users create content every single day, with our camera being used by everyone. And on Snapchat, there is no vanity metrics. There's no likes, there's no sharing, there's no comments. This means that your content isn't being judged when you share it, which is the reason why our community feels safe and truly comfortable in being themselves. Because of this, and the fact that our users are using it for true conversation between their best friends, it's the reason why our app is opened over 30 times a day, with an average user spending over 30 minutes. This makes sense if you go back to thinking about the heart of our platform. It's conversations between best friends. Conversations, they don't start and end at the beginning of a week, beginning of a month. Conversations happen all day, every day, between your closest mates. And this is why over 218 million people use Snapchat every day around the world to talk with their closest friends. And not only that, our community continues to grow with over 13% year-over-year growth in Q1. And you can see our audience isn't just one market. Our audience is truly global. Because of this, our large mobile-first generation who use the camera as communication is the core reason why app advertisers like yourself see huge success on our platform. For instance, if we look at the UK specifically, the key stat I want to highlight here is an average Snapchatter is downloading at least one app per week. COVID-19 has simply just magnified these trends. More than ever, our community is relying on Snapchat to stay connected, to stay entertained, and to stay informed. Here at Snapchat, we have an incredibly proactive approach to ensure that Snapchatters have access to credible, fact-based information on our platform. Our content platform, Discover, is created, and we closely work with a select set of partners, including some of the most trusted news organisations around the world. Across the board, our Snapchat guidelines prohibit our partners and our users from sharing content that deceives or deliberately spreads false information. So far, over 40 of our content publishers have created COVID-19 specific content in 5 different languages, enabling us to serve our key markets with the latest information on the crisis. We've also onboarded and broadcasted content from the likes of the World Health Organization and other local government agencies. In addition to this, and in response to the pandemic, our community team has also spun up a new franchise of discovery selection content to really reflect the changing world that our community now lives in. Everything from our videos showing people's hygiene life hacks to the wash your hands challenge to looking at what people are doing when they're stuck from home, working and having their normal schooling. We've also used the camera to keep our community engaged and, most importantly, informed. Through working with internal and external partners, we've created lenses, filters, and bitmojis, reminding our community the importance of washing your hands, not touching your face, and most importantly, keeping your distance. Finally, in the lightning and kind of worsening coronavirus situation, we decided to fast track the launch of a new product, our Here For You channel. The aim of the Here For You channel is to prioritize a dedicated search tool within Snapchat for those seeking the latest advice from the World Health Organization, NHS, and other local government agencies. Connecting with your friends and family has never been more important than it is today. And that is why we're determined to contribute to the health and happiness of our community and to help them navigate these unprecedented public health crisis times. The COVID-19 outbreak has turned the world on its axis, dramatically shifting the ways in which brands reach and interact with their audience. While friends and family are separated from each other and their regular routines, Snapchatters are coming together to take part in this time in a fast-moving global conversation. Some of the trends that we've noticed thus far is Snap sends between friends have reached an all-time high on our platform, surpassing our typical peaks of major holidays like Christmas. The large increases are disproportionately driven by those sending snaps to their closest friends on our platform. Our community is finding value in our video and voice calling feature, with time spent growing nearly 50% during late February, early March. We've also seen a huge increase in the number of small groups of friends coming together on our platform, with our group chat function engagement reaching all-time highs. Additional to this, we're also seeing increased engagement across our content side of the platform. Everything from our Snap games seeing our highest figures since launch for overall time spent, player counts, and usage of in-game social features like voice and chat. Seeing millions of our users turning to augmented reality for fun and self-expression, seeing an increase in the use of lenses by up to 25%. And finally, the time spent watching Snapchat shows is higher than ever before, with our users seeking content in our Discover section from everything from news, health and fitness, and gaming. Not only this, we're also seeing a massive change in the ways in which Snapchatters are engaging with our different advertisers. We're seeing huge shift in Snapchatter purchase behaviors, particularly in the use of downloads of commodity apps. Everything from streaming and gaming as people are spending more time at home and seeking new ways to entertain themselves, right the way through to fintech as Snapchatters look to pay closer attention to their money and investments during this period of uncertainty. We're also seeing a huge surge in the use of health and lifestyle apps, as people are no longer able to go to the gym, visit GPs, and other health clinics. This is why users are coming to Snapchat and engaging with advertisers, because they're finding new ways to stay both mentally and physically healthy. As routines have been disrupted, Snapchatters continually adjust their interests, priorities, and choices. Below are some of the emerging trends we've observed based on Snapchatters' response to ads, visitations to both our advertisers' websites and apps. As you can see, we've seen significant spikes across a number of our core regions for streaming, gaming, shopping, and ordering food. This is why, on average, our app business has seen an increase of 36% in install volume comparing late February to late March. We've also seen a huge increase in the way people are just engaging with our ad units, with a 19% increase in the amount of users clicking through and swiping up. The key thing to note, though, is our pillars remain the same during this period. We want to continue to encourage our advertisers to make sure they're measuring their success, targeting the right audience at the right time, but most importantly, are using our tools to optimize towards real business success. This is the reason why advertisers like Fusebox saw success and will continue to see success over this period, with this game seeing over an 8 times increase in return spend and 100% lifetime value compared to other channels. This is not the case across all industries, but we're also seeing huge uplift in things like fintech, where we're seeing apps like Starling Bank see 61% lower CPI compared to other platforms. So, how can you as a brand adapt your messaging to be more in line with our community? It is important to understand your audience, new needs, and to adapt your messaging to them in a considerate way. Like we said, our platform is staying the same. The importance of optimization, targeting, stay there. But the key thing that you need to adjust is the way in which you're communicating to your audience through your ad creative. Rather than using a global crisis as an opportunity to promote your brand, these ideas can help you craft thoughtful messages and create valuable experiences for Snapchatters. These best practices, to be honest, are true for any time, but should be particularly top of mind during uncertain times like these. As a community looks for guidance, perspective, and resources, brands can adjust their campaigns, messaging to support Snapchatters when they need it most. As you can see here, a couple of examples are kind of best in class for how people have adapted their messaging to be more in line with what's going on in the world. Everything from providing inspiration for people to how they can adapt and change their daily routine, to providing Snapchatters inspiration and guidance for their at-home workouts. And finally, a great example here from Bumble, where they're being contextually relevant. Think at this time, what is your audience worried about? What are they thinking about? And what are they up to at home? How can you engage with them in that new way and that different kind of conversation? So hopefully you found this presentation useful and given you a brief overview of what we've seen thus far as we enter this new period of time. Finally, I want to just iterate that I hope everybody stays safe, healthy, and remains as happy as they can be during this challenging period. I'm now going to hand back to James to address any questions that have come through on the line.
Okay, well, thanks, Sam. That was great. It's always good to hear from the big platforms, and yeah, it was really interesting to see what you're seeing on your network and the sort of trends you're seeing and how app marketers can respond and very positive. Obviously, it's not across all verticals, but consistent story from the last couple of weeks at App Promotion Summit, working from home, has been that some apps are seeing good growth during this time, and there are some people are looking to apps to solve problems for them and help
Absolutely.
get through this. So I think that's great. So we've got quite a few questions coming in. Katerina is asking, how do you filter out false information on COVID-19, and what sort of parameters are you using to identify that?
Great question. So I think one of the biggest differences about Snapchat compared to our competitors in this space is just the way in which content is shared. Majority of our content that is user generated is shared as one-to-one messages between users and their close friends. It isn't a platform where people are using it to broadcast themselves, like I said, to gain likes, comments, and shares. So this means our kind of architecture of our app really protects us from this type of information. On our Discover section, like I showed earlier, the key thing to really note is all of our partners are hand selected by Snapchat, and they adhere to very strict policies. And we do a lot of things to make sure that we're fact checking our select partners. But to be honest, most of these, like I said before, are some of the world's largest news corporations. So we work kind of very comfortably within their guidelines as well.
Got it. And Jara wants to know, why are Snapchat codes prohibited from all Snapchat ad formats, as well as being shown on landing pages?
That's a great question. We're constantly looking into the way in which people can use Snapcodes to kind of extend their reach on Snapchat. We've actually had some really creative and exciting ways of which people are using on out-of-home media. So I can actually come back to you directly on to some of the tests that we're looking to do in that space.
Okay, so I mean, you've left your contact details, haven't you, there, Sam? Maybe Jarek, he says that sounds great. Maybe you can drop Sam a line, Jarek, and he'll get back to you. Good question. So Katerina has a follow-up. So what's going to happen to user behavior after the quarantine ends, as we start to get back to the new normal? How is this going to be a permanent change? Have you got any insight into that?
Yeah, obviously, I wish we would have a crystal ball to predict what's going to happen, even to just know how long this period of time is going to go on for. I think one of the things that we do notice on our platform is typically the more that people use it for conversations, the more sticky the platform becomes. Because ultimately, conversations on a platform are unlikely to shift too regularly. So we're pretty confident that we're going to continue to see increased engagement. And if you, again, you think pre-COVID, we were still growing over 13% year over year in terms of our daily engagement. So I think we're comfortable in thinking our users are going to continue to grow and engagement is going to continue to go up within Snap. Obviously, exact numbers, I wish I could predict, but obviously it's hard to tell at this stage.
Someone wants to know, for a game, if they were working with Snap, how would that be? What sort of role would Snap play in the media mix when they're launching, and how would that fit in with, say, how they might use a Google app campaigns or a Facebook campaign? How would Snap fit into that?
Amazing. Obviously, gaming is a very broad industry, so I'll talk to a very high level, and then again, encourage you to reach out to me directly, and we can talk about the specifics of your game. But if we look at gaming across the board, especially within the mobile app space, if we narrow it in a tiny bit, we've seen over a 23% decrease in CPIs across our platform during this period, and this is because users are using us to drive in-app campaigns, be it to drive net new users, to increase retention or re-engagement. So there are a number of different ways in which advertisers can get involved. And then on top of that, we also do have our Snap Games platform for some of the premium publishers to create games for Snap as well. So there's a lot of ways in which gaming companies can get involved, both from us helping promote your app to increase your engagement rates on your side, but also we do work with a select partners on creating content and games just for us. Again, really encourage you to reach out to me on that question, because gaming is one of our core strengths. As you've seen, we've got a huge mobile first, digitally savvy audience. So there's obviously a lot of overlap and where we can help businesses like yourself.
Great. Richard's asking, one of your figures you mentioned a 61% lower CPI. Don't know if you've got that to hand.
Yeah, so we're seeing a 23% decrease in CPIs across the board, a
Right.
19% increase in swipe ups, and about a 33% increase in install volume at this
Right.
stage.
And he's asking about, is he going to be able to see the presentation again? I think you said, Sam, you'll be able to share the replay on our platform of this. So he'll be able to,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And I
great,
think one thing, again, I'll just reiterate
great,
is every business is so different in the app space. So when we do amazing summits like this, and again, thank you, James, for hosting us, we do try to keep it as kind of high level and relevant for as big an audience as possible. But as we know, each of your businesses will have separate challenges and unique nuances. So this is why I just encourage you to just reach out to me directly, and
great.
we can probably get a more relevant deck over for you.
Right, great. And Naveen is asking, have you seen brands create original content for Snap shows? Some sort of media brands in the UK aren't necessarily investing in bite-sized content. What do you think about that?
Yeah, in the UK, we have over 30 publishers in this space, kind of creating that short form content. And we've even seen some of them leaning in incredibly quick to make COVID specific content as well. So obviously, it is a change. But one of the things that we've done is we've built a suite of tools that enable people to take their more traditional long form content and make it more mobile friendly and short and to the point. So there's a tool called Snap Publisher, which does a lot of this for our ad units. And then we have a similar thing for our content publishers as well.
Great. And what about TikTok? How are you guys sort of positioned against them now? Obviously, they're growing very rapidly. They have a specific kind of position now in the market, and how do you sort of see Snapchat both as a consumer proposition and also as an ad proposition? What are the differences?
Yeah, great question. Obviously, we get asked this a fair amount because we, again, got a very kind of similar audience in terms of millennials and Gen Z. But one thing that always kind of people are surprised to hear, in majority of our core markets, we still have exclusivity of our around about 40% at least when it comes to TikTok Snap. But the biggest thing to really call out is we don't really see TikTok as a competitor. If you think about the types of content that people create for TikTok, it's the complete opposite of Snapchat. It's all about gaining likes, comments, shares, about making you a celebrity, as opposed to Snapchat, which is all about that close friend community of talking between you and your best friends. So they are very different in their kind of fundamentals. But obviously, there really is a bit of overlap when it comes to the business side of reach and going after kind of millennials and Gen Z. Like I said, we've got a pretty healthy, unique audience in the core markets where we operate. So yeah, we really just don't see them as a competitor. We see them as more of a complementary way in which people spend more time on mobile.
And Bada is asking, what ad formats have proven to be driving the highest swipe up rates for apps during the last recent period?
Again, great question. This really does vary on sector. So again, I can give you the specifics if you reach out to me on the
Great.
email. But what we're seeing, as always, is kind of companies that have, or sorry, brands that have a really simple call to action are seeing increased success on our Snap ad unit. But for those who have a slightly kind of bigger journey to tell, so something like a fintech, like opening a bank, story ads continue to trump in that space due to the fact that it gives more information to why someone should download the app. So it really depends on industry to industry, but we are seeing across the board increased engagements. Those averages that I shared earlier of the 23% decrease in CPI is across Snap ads and story ads combined.
Got it. And Chara wants to know, are you going to be offering API access to the Snap Publisher tool any point soon?
That's a great question. We're constantly reviewing our API. So actually, if you did have a use case for this, again, encourage you to reach out to me directly and we can speak about it. Generally, most of our advertisers use our self-serve tools. So kind of the API, most people use it for reporting functionality. That's why we've kind of really opened that up. But for kind of more unique asks, we can definitely discuss those in a separate conversation.
Great. And Bada says, thank you for answering that. We've got, this is quite specific question, which is, are you seeing anything in your games clients, any shift between how they're monetizing, for IAP versus, ad driven, or any changes in the dynamics of the games market that you can talk to?
Yeah, I think the gaming industry is just skyrocketing on all fronts. If you think about it, people have more dwell time during this period. They're spending more time at home. So we're seeing both more favorable CPIs in the hyper casual space, but then that kind of casual mid-core type gaming. We're seeing increase in purchases from Snapchatters. So I think just across the board, people are just spending more times on gaming. So I think on both fronts, we're seeing really successful growth. And that's where, again, love to kind of share more specifics, because even within gaming, you can go down to supporting X, Y, Z. So it's always good to kind of give the most relevant stats. So if you just reach out to me directly.
Great. Okay, so, well, thanks for coming on today, Sam. That was great. I really enjoyed that. Thanks for asking the questions. Thank you, everyone here, for coming on this morning and also asking some questions. Hopefully, Sam, will be able to see you in future, either another online event or maybe in Berlin in December. Hopefully, we can see you back in Berlin in the lovely Hotel Adlon, and we'll be nibbling on all the nice food and stuff they have there. So thank you for that. Next up, we have some more content coming on today. We've got a talk next, technical talk on retargeting and in-app events. That's a technical workshop. And then after that, we have, I think that's a midday. And then the last talk at 2:30, we're talking Apple search ads. There's a workshop on Apple search ads. And then there'll be a closing address from me if anyone's still interested. So yeah, still plenty more to do on the last day of App Promotion Summit, working from home. That was a great way to start the day. So thank you, Sam.
Thank you, James, for hosting as always.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.